Hi, sixth graders. Welcome back to part 2 of writing. So in part 1, we worked on breaking a writing prompt up into its separate parts. And we did that because it's going to help us best answer that question by knowing exactly what it's asking us to answer and how to answer it. So we are going to go ahead and move on to part 2, which is going ahead and answering that writing prompt by giving a written answer. And so just how that strategy that we looked at gives us a good way to figure out what to answer, we are going to look at a strategy called the better answer sandwich, and it's going to give us the best way to give a full and complete and really good answer to that prompt. And so when I'm explaining what the better answer sandwich is, I am going to be answering this prompt that you guys worked on yesterday. So remember, the prompt says, in the true story of the three little pigs, the big bad wolf has a chance to explain his side of the story. Do you think the wolf is a reliable narrator? Give examples from the text to support your thinking. So that's the one that I'm going to be answering to show you. And so I know when I'm looking at this prompt, I know that this first sentence here is the background information because it's telling me just a little bit about the story, that he's got he had his chance to explain the side of his story in the true story of the three little pigs. I know that this next sentence is the question, so it should have been highlighted in green because it's asking me, the writer, do I think the wolf is a reliable narrator? And then this last part I know is the directions because it's telling me exactly what I need to do to answer that question. It says give examples from the text to support your thinking. So once you can clearly see what a prompt wants you to do, you want to make sure that you're answering it to the best of your ability. Not just 2 to 3 words, not just one sentence, but a full, complete answer. So the first thing that a really good written response to a writing prompt is having an introduction. So your introduction, you need to make sure you're restating the question and giving the answer to the question in the same sentence. So just one sentence. And so I know that it was telling, it was asking me if I thought that the big bad wolf was a reliable narrator or not. And so I just restated that question there in my answer. And I said, in the story of the three little pigs, the big bad wolf is not a reliable narrator, because that's my answer that I'm going with. So I restated the question and I gave my answer in that one sentence. In the next part of the answer sandwich, this is where you are going to give your details that explain your answer, because you're not just going to stop there. You're going to give details from the text that explain your thinking. And so you might be using reasons, you might be using actual pieces from the text, but this body part, you're supporting your answer. So I give 2 reasons, but I just have one right here. The first reason is that he actually ate the first 2 pigs of the houses he visited instead of just borrowing the cup of sugar. And so in this story, that is what happens. And so notice how I said the first reason, and I gave the example from the text to show that he's not a reliable narrator. And then the last part of a really good answer sandwich is the conclusion. So your conclusion sentence, you're just writing a sentence that concludes your answer and wraps it up. So you might, again, just mention your answer to that question in your conclusion sentence. So I said, there is a good reason to believe that he was terrorizing the pigs if he ended up in jail. Therefore, he is not reliable. So again, I wrap up my answer and I say, this is why he's not reliable. So, remember, here is my prompt here, and then here is my full answer. So in my introduction, I restated the question. Remember, it was a question, do you think he's a reliable narrator? I restated the question, and then I gave my answer. And then the next part, I gave those 2 reasons in my body, those supporting details that supports my answer. I give 2 reasons, and I don't just say he ended up in jail, he ate the first 2 pigs. I say the first reason and the second reason. I'm making sure my answers are super full. and are giving the most detail possible. And then my last sentence, remember, I am concluding, I'm wrapping it up, and I am again explaining my answer. All of this stuff is the reason why he is not reliable. And so that last sentence is a wrap-up one to make sure that you are fully explaining your answer. So that is the answer sandwich. You are going to work today on you are going to choose 2 of the fairy tale prompts to answer. So it doesn't matter which ones you choose. You are going to watch the part of the video for that story. So you'll watch the story, then you'll answer the prompt, watch the story, answer the prompt. And using that answer sandwich, you are going to construct an answer for that prompt. So every answer should have at least 3 sentences because there's 3 parts to that answer sandwich. So when you look on the prompts, you will notice, let me move, you'll notice that I have the video right here for you. And then this is where you'll skip to in the video if you are choosing Peter Piper, and they are there for all of the videos, and where you're going to go in the video to find that story. All right, well, happy writing.